I'm dropping an underwater camera 800 feet deep in search of my dinner, and what we saw down there was unbelievable. So without further ado, let's go see what lives 800 feet deep in the ocean. We start off our morning heading out of Hillsborough Inlet. Once we get out of the inlet, we make an 8-mile run offshore to our spot sitting 800 feet deep. Once we got to this spot, it was time to start setting up our rig. The first thing we need is the underwater camera, and the camera is the most important piece of this deep drop rig. Next thing we do is attach a light onto this swivel, and then we put that camera right near that deep drop light. After doing this, I attach one more light on the other side of the underwater camera, and the lights are extremely important when you're fishing this deep. They help attract fish, and they also help the camera see clearly. Once the camera piece is all done, I clip up the swivel. After doing that, it's now time to attach our hooks. So I take this deep drop rig, which has 4 different hooks, and then I attach it to our swivel. We then attach some full squids onto our hooks, and squid is the best kind of bait for this type of fishing. Once everything was done, we clipped on a 5-pound deep drop weight. Now that the deep drop rig is set, all I'm going to do is place the weight in the water and then loosen the drag on this Tanacom. Now it's time to make our way down 800 feet deep. So we switch over to our underwater camera point of view and make our way down to the bottom. And this is the longest part about deep dropping. Just to hit bottom, it takes a good 3 to 4 minutes. That's why it's so important to use multiple hooks rather than just one, because if somehow you lose your bait or get robbed by a fish, you'll have to bring this entire rig all the way back up. But with 5 hooks, if one gets robbed, you still have a bunch of other options. So we are now halfway down to the bottom, and let me know in the comments below if you guys think using an electric reel is cheating. Almost every deep drop video we post, people complain saying it's cheating. But honestly, if you did this manually, I can't even imagine doing more than one drop. So we have just hit bottom and it is pitch black down here. The goal for today is to bring home dinner. So on this first drop, we waited a few seconds and then this giant fish appeared. And this was a great way to start our day. This fish came up and swallowed our squid. And now that I can watch this video back, I really should have started bringing him up here to set that hook, but I waited it out and he got right off the hook. So we sat down here a little longer and then this fish came back around. And now that we can clearly see this fish, it is a tilefish, and these are extremely smart fish. So we're gonna have to be very patient today and hopefully we can get one to connect. But then again, this fish popped up on the bottom, and at this point I feel like I was being trolled. And if you guys have watched the recent underwater videos, this has happened to us way too many times. So we are now 5 minutes into this drop, and at this point it wasn't looking too good. But we continued to wait it out, and let us know where you guys would want to see us drop this underwater camera next. But this fish continued to play with our baits, and as you guys can see, the squid is still staying on the hooks so well, and this is the exact reason why we use it. So this giant tilefish ended up coming out of the shadows and slammed our bait, and this time we finally had him. The second I felt this fish, I started bringing him up nice and slowly, and at this point everything was looking good. So as I got him about 200 feet off the bottom, I started bringing this fish in a lot faster. But about halfway up, right as I thought I had this fish, the worst thing possible happened. This fish was somehow able to get right off my hook, which costed me my dinner, and this by far was the most heartbreaking loss. So I sadly brought this empty rig back to the boat, but at this point we had to do another drop because we needed to catch our dinner. So once I retrieved this deep drop rig, we made our way back toward our spot sitting 800 feet deep. Once we got back there, we rigged up some brand new squid, and then we made our way back down to the bottom, hoping for revenge on this drop. Now that we are back in the water, we switch over to the underwater camera point of view, and hopefully on this drop we can get some better luck, because that first drop still stings. And honestly, if you guys have any tips on what I should change on my deep drop rig, Let us know in the comments below, because this happens to us way too many times. So we are now about halfway down to the bottom, and now that we know there are fish in this spot, that honestly is the hardest part about deep dropping, finding the fish. Because some days we'll come out here and hit over 50 different spots before we get into that one that actually produces fish. But now we have just hit bottom, and on this drop it was a lot slower than our last one. But after about 2 minutes of waiting, the first fish appeared on the very bottom. And honestly, it was a nice sized fish. But again, he hit our squid and then took off. And if I knew this spot was old Tilefish, I definitely should have put on some smaller hooks. I feel like we would have caught so many more fish. But then this good sized fish appeared, and he just swallowed that middle bait. It looks like he tried swimming off with it, but somehow it fell right out of his mouth. And at this point, the deep drop was starting to get annoying. So once that fish took off, it went dead quiet down here for a few seconds. But then this fish appeared out of nowhere. And this fish looked extremely interested in our bait. So as we patiently sat on the bottom, he ended up hammering that bottom squid. And this time it actually looked like he was hooked. So I slowly started bringing him up, and let me know in the comments below what your favorite bottom fish to eat is. Because honestly, this fish that we hooked, a blue line tilefish, they are some of the best eating bottom fish in the ocean. So this time around, I ended up bringing this fish up slowly. It took a little longer, but it definitely paid off. But we now had this fish halfway off the bottom. And this time, it looks like we actually had him. So after a few minutes of bringing him up, he was finally right under the boat. So my brother Austin came over with the net and was able to net this nice sized tilefish. And just like that, we were able to catch our dinner. We hope you guys enjoyed this fishing video, and we'll see you in the next Barjack's Family fishing video.